What happened to the war films that left audiences breathless, only to be lost in time? These 70s masterpieces still hold secrets that could redefine how we view war on screen. Forgotten by many, yet loved by those who remember, these films are brutal, shocking, and unforgettable. But why aren't they in the spotlight today? Let's dive into the stories they told and why their powerful messages are still more relevant than ever, before they disappear completely. The McKenzie Break, 1970. What if the most daring escape by the enemy becomes a test of survival, not just on the battlefield, but in the minds of those involved? The McKenzie Break offers a gripping portrayal of a Scottish POW camp where a group of German prisoners plan a bold escape. However, it's the psychological tension between the captives and their British captors that takes center stage. The tension doesn't just come from the escape plan itself, but from the complex moral decisions made by the British officers. This isn't your typical war film, as the true battleground is mental and emotional, where loyalty, trust, and the cost of duty collide. Brian Keith's performance as the hardened officer who must navigate this treacherous terrain adds another layer to the narrative, making the film a deep dive into the psychological intricacies of captivity. The film's gritty realism and atmosphere set it apart from more popular WWII films, offering a look at the human aspect of war, often overlooked. It's a powerful exploration of how far one can be pushed in the name of survival. The McKenzie Break holds a unique place in war cinema, often forgotten, but deserving of more attention for its intellectual depth and the tension it creates between duty and morality. Too Late the Hero, 1970. How far would you go to survive when there's no glory, only fear and desperation? Too late. The hero turns the classic heroic narrative of WWII on its head. Set in the Pacific, it follows a ragtag group of British soldiers given a seemingly impossible mission, one that offers no medals or victory, just a harsh struggle for survival. Michael Caine gives a standout performance as a cynical officer, forced to work with a group of reluctant soldiers. What makes this film so compelling is its unflinching look at the realities of war. The soldiers face not only external enemies but their own fears and cowardice. As their mission unravels, the film dives deep into themes of human vulnerability, fear, and redemption. There is no glorification of combat here, only a raw, realistic portrayal of men under pressure, battling not just the enemy, but their own psychological limits. The bleak, almost existential narrative keeps viewers engaged, forcing them to confront the true cost of war. Too Late the Hero is a film that gets under your skin, leaving you questioning what you'd do in the same circumstances. Often overlooked, this film remains an essential, darkly emotional piece for anyone seeking a true representation of wartime despair and the complex emotions that define the human experience in combat. Murphy's War, 1971. One man's quest for vengeance becomes a war within himself. Murphy's War tells the story of an Irish sailor, played by Peter O'Toole, who survives a German attack during WWII, only to embark on a relentless and increasingly obsessive mission to destroy the Nazi forces that nearly killed him. What starts as a tale of revenge soon spirals into an existential journey where the cost of obsession becomes as dangerous as the enemy itself. The film's strength lies in its psychological depth, which is a stark contrast to the action-heavy war films of the time. Murphy's obsession with retribution clouds his judgment and leads him down a path where the true enemy isn't just the Nazis, but the madness that overtakes him. O'Toole's gripping performance takes the audience on a tense and heartbreaking journey where the true horror of war is not just in the violence, but in the human mind itself. While Murphy's War has often been overshadowed by other films, it stands as a powerful commentary on the personal costs of vengeance and the fine line between heroism and madness. This film is a hidden gem that offers more than just battlefield action. It challenges viewers to reflect on the human spirit and the emotional toll of war. The Last Valley, 1971. What happens when the brutality of war invades even the most peaceful corners of the world? The Last Valley is set during the 30 Years' War and offers a stark, haunting portrayal of human nature when stripped of civilization's protections. A group of mercenaries stumbles upon a peaceful valley, untouched by the violence raging outside. But peace, it seems, is fleeting. Violence and betrayal soon follow. The film is an exploration of the harsh choices forced upon men in times of war. What makes The Last Valley unique is its philosophical depth. It questions whether true peace is ever possible in a world that thrives on conflict. Is survival the only goal, or does the soul need something more to endure? Director James Clavell masterfully captures the moral complexity of this world, where loyalty, trust, and humanity are constantly in conflict with the need to survive. The film offers a thought-provoking narrative that doesn't just focus on battle, but on the emotional and mental struggles of war. While The Last Valley remains lesser known compared to other war epics, it offers a nuanced perspective on the costs of conflict and the fragility of peace. The philosophical undertones, combined with intense action, make it a compelling and often overlooked masterpiece in the war genre. Aces High, 1976. What does it take to keep fighting when the stakes are life or death and the pressure is overwhelming? Aces High brings to life the intense aerial battles of World War I, focusing not just on the physical combat, but on the mental and emotional toll it takes on the pilots. Set within a British fighter squadron, the film follows a group of young men who must confront the constant threat of death, the bond of camaraderie, and the brutal reality of war high above the trenches. What makes Aces High stand apart is its focus on the psychological strain of air combat. The film humanizes its characters, showing their fear, their courage, and their vulnerability. The stunning aerial combat scenes are matched with a powerful exploration of the emotional weight carried by each pilot. They fight not just for victory, but for survival, and the film's brutal realism drives this point home. While overshadowed by later, bigger war epics, Aces High remains a significant film for its nuanced portrayal of combat and the emotional toll it takes on those who fight. Its raw character development, combined with its action-packed narrative, makes it a gripping, emotional journey into the hearts and minds of soldiers who live on the edge of life and death. The Eagle Has Landed, 1976. What if the greatest military leaders in history were put to the test in an impossible mission on British soil? The Eagle Has Landed delivers a thrilling, high-stakes story based on the fictional plot to kidnap Winston Churchill during World War II. Led by a charismatic Michael Caine, a German force is sent to infiltrate a small English village under the guise of peace, with a secret mission to capture one of Britain's most prominent leaders. What unfolds is a gripping mix of espionage, courage, and betrayal. The film expertly navigates the blurred lines between right and wrong, asking whether the enemy truly sees themselves as the villain or if it's all a matter of perspective. Filled with twists and unexpected moments, this underrated gem offers a mix of action and tension rarely seen in war films. Its intelligent script, engaging performances, and emotional complexity keep you on the edge of your seat. It's a forgotten classic that paints a vivid picture of the moral ambiguities inherent in war, providing insight into what drives both soldiers and leaders to make impossible decisions. The Duelists, 1977. Could a lifelong obsession with honor and vengeance define the rest of your life? Ridley Scott's The Duelists is a beautifully crafted, psychologically intense exploration of rivalry during the Napoleonic Wars. The film follows two French officers who become locked in an escalating series of duels, driven by a mix of personal honor and deep resentment. What sets this film apart is its slow burn. Each duel becomes more symbolic than the last, capturing the obsessive nature of their conflict. Set against a backdrop of stunning landscapes and meticulously designed period detail, The Duelists is more than a war film. It's a meditation on obsession, pride, and the costs of revenge. The impeccable performances by Keith Carradine and Harvey Keitel, paired with Scott's visual storytelling, create an emotional journey that feels almost like a tragic opera. Though overshadowed by Scott's later works, this early masterpiece is a deeply reflective piece on the personal toll of war and the futility of conflict. Its artistic direction and emotional undercurrents make it one of the most underrated gems in war cinema. Operation Daybreak, 1975. Imagine the courage it takes to bring down the evil at its heart. Operation Daybreak is based on the real-life assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, one of the highest-ranking Nazis during World War II. The film, centered around a team of Czech soldiers, captures the tension and danger they faced in their mission to kill Heydrich in Prague. What's gripping about Operation Daybreak isn't just the action-packed story, it's the emotional toll it takes on each character. The film meticulously details the struggles of resistance fighters who risk everything for a cause greater than themselves, revealing the depth of their sacrifices. It's a powerful commentary on the moral complexities of wartime resistance and the human cost of standing up against tyranny. The atmosphere is heavy, with constant tension as the characters know their fate could be sealed at any moment. The film's historical accuracy and the harrowing reality of their mission make it one of the most emotionally charged war films, but its importance and impact have long been overshadowed. Operation Daybreak deserves a place in the spotlight for its brutal honesty about the cost of freedom and its emotional depth. Overlord, 1975. What happens when you mix horror with history? Overlord does exactly that. blending the horrors of World War II with the terror of a Nazi experiment gone wrong. The film follows a group of American soldiers parachuting into France on the eve of D-Day, only to stumble upon a sinister German lab where they're testing twisted experiments on human beings. The raw, visceral horror element makes this one of the most unique war films of the decade. But it's not just the supernatural elements that make it stand out. Overlord also captures the emotional toll of war, particularly the disillusionment and terror soldiers face when confronted with the unthinkable. The film creates a feeling of suffocating dread, making it more than just a typical war movie. By blending the terrifying unknown with the brutal realities of combat, Overlord serves as a psychological nightmare that sticks with you long after the credits roll. This forgotten classic offers a compelling look at the darker side of war, both in terms of human violence and twisted experimentation, making it a must-see for fans of both horror and war films. Go Tell the Spartans, 1978. What happens when the horrors of war meet the disillusionment of soldiers who have seen it all? Go Tell the Spartans tells the story of a group of U.S. soldiers stationed in Vietnam in the early stages of the war, long before the public fully understood the brutality of the conflict. The film focuses on the psychological toll of war, contrasting the soldiers' youthful idealism with the harsh reality they face. What makes this film so powerful is its ability to depict the early stages of Vietnam in a stark, unflinching light, exploring the frustrations, hopelessness, and psychological scars left on soldiers who are not yet fully aware of what they're walking into. The film's raw and sometimes uncomfortable portrayal of war's impact on the human soul sets it apart from other Vietnam War films. In a way, Go Tell the Spartans is a chilling reminder of the cost of conflict and the deep, often unseen wounds it leaves on both the fighters and those back home. Its underrated status is a tragedy in itself, as it remains one of the most honest depictions of war in film history. A Bridge Too Far, 1977. Could an entire military operation unravel due to miscalculation and human error? A Bridge Too Far captures the harrowing true story of Operation Market Garden, one of the most ambitious and disastrous Allied operations of World War II. Directed by Richard Attenborough, the film assembles an all-star cast, including Sean Connery, Michael Caine, and Gene Hackman, to depict the valiant yet doomed attempt to end the war by securing key bridges in the Netherlands. The film offers an unparalleled look at the operational failure of Market Garden and its tragic consequences, exploring the psychological cost of high-stakes warfare and the errors in leadership and strategy that led to disaster. With breathtaking aerial shots and tense, dramatic combat scenes, A Bridge Too Far does not sugarcoat the emotional devastation felt by the soldiers on the ground. While praised for its accuracy and epic scale, it remains underrated compared to other war epics, yet its portrayal of failure and sacrifice stands as a haunting reminder of the unpredictable nature of war. This film captures the relentless, unforgiving nature of combat, where even the best-laid plans can falter, leaving soldiers to pick up the pieces of a broken strategy. If you've never seen it, this epic is a masterclass in large-scale war films, offering deep emotional and historical insight into the cost of miscalculation in wartime. Cross of Iron, 1977. What if the true face of war wasn't heroism, but survival at any cost? Sam Peckinpah's Cross of Iron presents a dark and gritty portrayal of the Eastern Front during World War II, focusing on the lives of German soldiers who have been abandoned by their ideals. The film stars James Coburn as the embittered Sergeant Steiner, a man hardened by years of brutal combat and cynical of the very war he fights. Peckinpah's unflinching direction exposes the raw, ugly reality of war, emphasizing not the glory, but the soul-crushing grind of daily survival. The soldiers' internal conflicts mirror the external chaos of battle, with a powerful portrayal of class struggles between the officer corps and the enlisted men. The film's bleak tone is complemented by an outstanding performance from Coburn, whose character's descent into despair is as tragic as it is gripping. Cross of Iron stands as one of the most realistic and emotionally complex war films of its time, challenging the traditional hero narrative and instead delving into the dehumanizing effects of prolonged combat. While not as widely recognized as other WWII classics, this film remains a powerful statement on the moral decay of warfare, showing that sometimes the real battle is within. If you want a war film that strips away the glamour, Cross of Iron is a must-watch, a brutal, unforgettable experience. The Ascent, 1977. Could you maintain your humanity under the most inhumane of conditions? The Ascent takes us deep into the heart of Nazi-occupied Belarus during World War II, where two Soviet partisans find themselves tested by both physical and spiritual endurance. The film isn't just about survival, it's about the breakdown of ideals, faith, and morality when the world around you crumbles. Directed by Larissa Shepitko, The Ascent is a harrowing exploration of sacrifice, human weakness, and the crushing psychological weight of war. The film focuses on the internal struggles of its characters, especially the two protagonists, whose relationship slowly unravels as they are faced with unbearable choices. Set against the bleak, snow-covered forests of Belarus, every frame is meticulously crafted to convey the stark and oppressive atmosphere of war. What makes this film stand out is its deep existential questioning. At its core, it's not just about survival, but what remains of your soul when everything else is stripped away. The Ascent was highly acclaimed for its raw portrayal of humanity's darkest moments, yet it remains largely forgotten by modern audiences. Its heartbreaking exploration of suffering and betrayal in the most dire of circumstances makes it one of the most emotionally powerful films from the Soviet era. If you want to witness the depths of human endurance and the cost of war on the soul, this masterpiece is essential viewing. The Boys in Company C, 1978. What if the real war wasn't the one you fought, but the one inside you? The Boys in Company C is a gritty, powerful film that takes an unflinching look at the Vietnam War from the perspective of a group of American soldiers who find themselves caught in the madness of combat and the disillusionment that comes with it. Directed by Sidney J. Furie, this film explores the lives of these men, who are forced to confront their fears, their anger, and ultimately their own humanity as they fight a war they no longer understand. Unlike many of its contemporaries, The Boys in Company C doesn't glorify the action or the heroism of war. It's a deeply human story of fear, survival, and the emotional and psychological toll that war takes on young soldiers. The film's focus on the internal and external struggles of its characters makes it one of the most authentic and emotionally resonant Vietnam War films. What sets this film apart is its commitment to realism, offering an unvarnished portrayal of war's destructive impact on the soldiers who fight it. Though often overshadowed by bigger titles in the Vietnam War genre, The Boys in Company C is a haunting, thought-provoking film that deserves far more recognition for its raw, honest depiction of the horrors of war. If you're looking for a war film that delves deep into the emotional scars left by combat, this one is essential. These 14 forgotten war films aren't just tales of battle. They're powerful, emotional journeys into the heart of humanity under fire. From moral struggles to unflinching realities, each one offers something unique. If you've never seen them, now's your chance. Dive into these hidden gems before they're forgotten forever. Like, comment, and share your thoughts below.